Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa, Niasquad, H1 got back with another reaction video, and I would like to wish you guys Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all that type of stuff like that, whatever you celebrate or if you don't celebrate, you know. Just wanted to give you guys a little holiday cheer. Like I say, your boy hasn't been here recording and like editing lately. There's been a whole lot going on, but yeah, I'm back right now on Christmas Day. I don't know when it's actually going to get out. I want to try to get one of these videos out before tonight's over with, so I'm trying to render and edit out. I just don't know how my computer's going to deal with all that. So most likely it's going to get out tomorrow. But yeah, guys, holiday spirit, you know what I'm saying? I got the Naruto long sleeve sweatshirt, you know what I'm saying? So if you guys like it, just let me know. So yeah, you know, holiday cheer. So this one, guys, we have right here is on Mr. Nightmare Show. This is called 3 Chilling True Blizzard Horror Stories. So obviously in blizzards, a lot of stuff can happen. A lot of stuff you can't see. And there's like crazy scenarios with stuff like this and like blizzard and stuff like that. It's like ridiculous, like hitchhiking in blizzards and things like that. Just when you're driving on roads or just being at the house and something like that. And just yesterday while I was driving home from my cousin's house, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and like 2 people tried to hitchhike. One was like on the feeder, and one was like coming towards like my neighborhood. So it's like weird. And I already seen a lot of these stories like Mr. Nightmare and things like that. And I know not to like nobody hitchhike that late at night. Like it's no need for somebody to try to be hitchhiking that late at night. Like obviously it's sketchy. Well, it might be real, but most of the time it's sketchy. But anyway, guys, I don't know if I already said this already, but I'm gonna say it again. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video, have the channel grow a lot. Also, as well, hit the bell notification. Make sure you click all so you never I make a future upload. Alright, guys, so without further ado, let's get right to it. So, play.
My friend Carlos and I would always go out shoveling people's sidewalks after big snowstorms to make some quick cash.
Okay.
In like 2013 or 2014, the town was in the midst of a blizzard. It was dark, windy, and snow was building up fast. Our school already announced it would be closed due to snow the next day. So with nothing to do that night, and it being only like 8 p.m., we went out with our shovels and started ringing doorbells.
Yeah, it must suck for people that has to deal with blizzards. That really has to suck.
We got a lot of no's before we got our first yes. We made around $15 each on our first house. We made our way across the neighborhood. A lot of people weren't interested, and most people just wouldn't open their doors.
$15.
We got a second house eventually, and made a little more money on that one.
Snow, that's crazy, no.
And I remember a long gap between that house and the next house that would say yes. It was a small corner house, but usually corner houses would pay more. We rang the bell, and the door cracked open, but whoever was on the other side didn't show their face. They did, however, speak from the other side. A deep man's voice said, "Who's there?" I pitched our snow shoveling service to the man on the other side, requesting $40 in return since it was a corner house. There was a short silence. Then the voice on the other side said, "Oh yes, please, $40 is fine." There was a hint of nervousness in the voice. I said, "All right," and then the door shut.
Right there is where they messing up. You have to see the person's face, bro. There's no way. Like
that was weird.
What?
But we started the shoveling.
Your friend's face is weird. Like, why are you doing? You don't even know what this person looks like. They didn't even show their face.
Carlos worked on the sidewalks. I couldn't help but stare at the house every once in a while. And at one point, when I turned to a window as I was throwing the snow from my shovel onto the ground, I saw who I assumed to be the homeowner. He was standing at one of the windows, watching me. Could I see anything of his face? Not really. He was standing in a dark room. A little uncomfortable it made me, but I tried my best to ignore it and continue shoveling.
Me and my friend going straight back to the crib.
Of course, I'd occasionally glance back, and he would still be there.
Screw that, I'm sorry. We're not, no.
Eventually, I finished the driveway.
We're not doing
Just around the same time, Carlos finished the sidewalks.
Oh, sir.
So we started our way back up the walkway to the front stoop. But before getting to the stoop, the door opened, and the man inside shouted, "Go around back." Carlos and I froze, looked at each other, then obeyed his command. We stepped through the snow-covered grass to the back gate. I opened it and pushed it through the rising snow, which was slightly difficult. Then, there we were, in the man's backyard, which had a small awning that we stayed under to get out from the falling snow.
So sketchy. So
we waited by the back door, expecting him to come outside eventually with our money. We waited for over a minute and started getting antsy. I started pounding on the back door since there didn't seem to be a doorbell. Then there was the sound of a window being rotated open, followed by the man's voice again, saying, "Come inside."
No.
Carlos and I looked at each other again.
Hold up.
And I led the way in through the back door.
Pause. I haven't paused a video in like so long. I've been letting it ride out and while reacting to the video. I'm sorry. No matter what you do, male, female, whoever watches my channel, if it's cutting grass, if it's doing this like shoveling people's snow onto the roads and stuff like that for money. Okay, you're kids, you trying to make money with your friend, whatever, cool. Lemonade stage, whatever. That's all cool. You know, I'm not knocking your hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta, you know what I'm saying, you gotta do something to, you know, get some money in your pocket. Obviously, because this world runs on money. Obviously. Only thing I'm pausing this video for is to say, if you already completed your task, and then a person go tell you to, you haven't seen this person yet. You haven't not seen this person's face yet. Even when he like initially opened up the door, it cracked open, you didn't even see him. You just heard their voice. Okay, cool, whatever. And then like they tell you to go around back. That's sketchy. No, matter of fact, that's sketchiness number 2, because number 1, you actually opened up, went to their door, and they didn't show their face. That's one thing. 2, the guy staring at you while you're doing the work. 3, this dude tells you to come out back. 4, this dude rolls down his window instead of opening up the door and then tells you to come inside. What do I need to come inside for? All I need you to do is give me some money. That's usually it's 3 red flags. Dude got 4 red flags. You know what I'm saying? 4. Like, are you serious? Like, what really? What are we doing here? Alright, so we're gonna get back to this video, guys. I just wanted to just put that out there. Alright, play.
Lights in this house were turned off. It was actually so hard to see anything.
5 red flags. The lights are turned off.
Hello?
5. Oh, she was 10,
I
but
heard a man's voice from another room call, "I'm counting your money on the table." It seemed he was inside the kitchen, which was connected by a small door to the room we entered from.
He says $80. Like, what's
I
for?
walked closer
like,
to the kitchen, which appeared to be lit up through the window only by the street lights standing on the side of the house.
Oh my God.
I stood at the doorway, intending on looking through the crack of the door to see where the guy was standing in the kitchen. But I couldn't see through the crack because it was blocked by him. The man was standing on the other side of the door, looking through the crack. I turned and pretended I didn't see him. I made up some bull, like telling Carlos we forgot something outside. We left the house, and the man didn't say a word. As soon as we got outside, we grabbed our shovels and sprinted away from there. All of our hard work shoveling that house was for nothing. We got back to my backyard, put the shovels away, and went inside to warm up and rest for a little bit. Carlos and I chilled for a little bit, then it was time for him to go. He went out the back to get his shovel, but he came back inside, concerned, telling me to come take a look at something. There was an extra, fresh set of boot marks in the snow. You may ask how we knew. That's because one set trailed from the gate to the back door to the shed in the corner of our backyard. Carlos hurried back inside, and we told my mom. We live in a very poor, relatively unsafe neighborhood, so my mom was quick to believe us and get 911 on the phone. Police showed up relatively quickly considering the horrible driving conditions, and they went to investigate the shed. Carlos, my mom, and I watched through the back window as the police pulled out a man from the shed. He had a matching shirt from what I could see through the window back when we were shoveling that property. It was undoubtedly the house owner. He later admitted to police that he was going to attempt to break into the house when we all went to sleep. Why, however, he never answered. Police also said he was very intoxicated when he admitted this, which made me think, what on earth was he going to do to us in that kitchen if we didn't leave his house?
That's so sick, man. That's crazy, dog. Makes you wonder, though, man.
It was an early December night, and we were having our first snowstorm of the year. I was in my bed watching some low-budget Christmas film while texting various friends, mostly my friends George and Pat. We used to text in a 3-person group chat. Everything was as it should be when I felt my heart drop to my stomach as a bang came from the window right next to my bed. I opened the curtain, but there was no one standing out there. Then, pow, there was another, as I was still looking out the window. It was a snowball. Someone was throwing snowballs at my window. I stood on my bed to get the best possible view out the window.
Man,
but I didn't see anyone standing out there in the snow.
Chuck it back at
so
you.
I actually lifted open my window to call out.
Go to my
it was almost immediately after I shouted out the window that I heard someone's laughter. Not a child's laughter like I was expecting it to be. It was a deeper voice, could belong to anyone from the age of 17 to 40 for all I knew. I shut the window and started texting in our little group chat saying I knew it was one of them messing with me. The fact that they now weren't responding made me even more confident. I didn't close the curtain as I knew whichever one of them it was, they weren't done messing with me. And just like that, another snowball hit my window. I lifted the window up quickly to try and catch them, and there he was standing in the snow, waving to me. But it wasn't either of my friends. It was some guy in black coat with gloves on.
Bro, these sound effects and everything.
He started approaching the window. I hurried and slammed it shut and twisted the little lock. I also closed the curtain so that he couldn't look into my room. Both of my friends had texted back by now with question mark responses. Then there was a single knock at my window, and it started being fiddled with and shaken. He was trying to lift it open. When it all stopped, I waited a couple minutes before peeking through the curtain.
So you know people crazy.
It seemed the coast was clear, so I finally went to go tell my mom and dad.
Heck outside, and this dude's trying to open up a window to get it. No, dude's
sure,
crazy.
My dad believed me. He literally saw the footprints in the snow, but he just didn't see it necessary to call the police, figuring whoever was out there gave up.
What is this stuff on the bed?
My dad turned on all the outside lights just as a deterrent, and then they went to sleep. I stayed up in my room with the lights off, continuing to watch movies. My door clicked open.
Nope, that was that guy.
I said get out, assuming it was my little brother. The door shut, so it seemed he listened to me. Silence, except for the TV. I watched for a long while, then a click in my wood floor. I turned, halfway through repeating get out in a louder voice, when realizing it was not my short little brother. It was that tall man in the black beanie and coat from outside. He started waving to me again at the doorway, then put his pointer finger up to his lips. He started walking over to my bed, and that's when I got up, ready to defend myself. He approached faster now, easily grabbed me, and covered my mouth with his leather gloves. There was a wet white towel in his glove that he was pressing to my face for a long time. I tried to break free and scream, but I couldn't, and that was the last thing I remember before everything went black. I woke up in my living room with my parents and police hovering over me. An ambulance arrived shortly. My dad heard the commotion going on in my room and came to find the man over me. My dad, much larger than that man, managed to overpower him, but not long enough before the police could arrive. He ran out the front door and disappeared. I was quickly brought to the hospital. Thankfully, I was all right. If you're wondering, the man climbed in through our downstairs window. It's a little-known common courtesy out in the mountains during a snowstorm that if someone's seeking shelter in your cabin, you let them in. No, I wasn't the one offering that courtesy to someone else in the story. I was the one seeking refuge. It was supposed to be a long weekend of hunting, but what started as a cold, sunny day quickly formed tons of dark storm clouds, and I quickly found myself right in the middle of a blizzard. After a full, rather unsuccessful day of hunting hares, I was way too far and disoriented to make my way back to my cabin. I had to seek refuge
this
somewhere
one more
else.
scary than the Christmas stories
I came across a log cabin nestled between a circle of trees. No lights on, but I still had to try the door. I hit the door with my fist a few times. No answer, but I could hear footsteps on the other side, approaching the door. I expected it to open, but it didn't. I shouted that I'm lost and need shelter. The door cracked open, and I heard a voice say, "Come in, leave your boots by the door." I waited a bit, expecting him to open the door fully and formally greet me as anyone would, but that didn't happen, so I pushed the door open myself and entered the dark cabin. The room was lit by 2 candles, just enough for me to see the couch that the man then told me to sleep on. As for the man, all I saw was his silhouette on the far side of the room.
See, man, if I can't see what
the
you
little
look
light
like,
from
dog,
the
I'm
candles
not
didn't
comfortable
extend
with
that
being
far.
in anywhere.
I dropped my bag and gun on the floor and laid down on the couch. I thanked the man for letting me crash here till the storm blows over. He didn't answer. His behavior wasn't the most bizarre thing. Folks are strange up in the mountains. If he wasn't up for conversation, I'd just get some early shut-eye. I closed my eyes, though the level of darkness with my eyes closed wasn't much of a difference. I was subconsciously waiting to hear the man's footsteps leave the room, but they never did. I opened my eyes, and his silhouette was still in the corner of the room, just standing there. I felt the need to say, "Yeah, I think I'm just going to get some sleep now, thanks." No response. I turned to my other side so that I wouldn't be tempted to just keep opening my eyes to check on him. Some time passed, but without having heard his footsteps walk away, the curiosity was eating away at me. I turned over to look again, and this time, I swear to God, the silhouette of the man was closer by at least a few feet. I couldn't make out his face, but the slight glow from the candles would just barely trickle around the man's forehead, and what I saw was disgustingly pale skin. I quickly gathered my belongings and thanked him, but I said I had to go. I didn't look at him anymore, because I don't think I wanted to know what he looked like. I put my boots on outside and hurried back into the blizzard. I came across another cabin down the hill, this one with the lights on. I knocked on the door, and some old man and his wife answered the door. They welcomed me in immediately and were very inviting. They gave me some hot tea and offered me a spot on the couch. I told them my story about the freaky cabin up the hill, and the two looked at each other, puzzled. The woman confirmed 2 times the cabin I was talking about. Then she said, "Honey, the owner of that cabin was murdered 2 years ago. That cabin has been vacant ever since."
Alright, well, we're gonna end it off right there, man. 3 chilling Blizzard horror stories, man. Dude must have murdered the dude 2 years ago and still just in the cabin or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna end off right there, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the red button down below. Stop liking this video. Help the channel grow out a lot. Hit the bell notification. Make sure you click all so you never have to make a future upload. Yeah, guys, I'm just gonna get out of here because it's way too much. Any comments down below, man. Anything you want to talk about in this. Peace.